Well, happy Father's Day.
Yes, sir. Happy Father's Day to you.
My mom didn't expect that.
Nobody did. Did you know it?
Interesting how I came about that. I grew up in the AME church, and by the way, I wanted to give greetings from Allen Temple AME Church here this morning at Mount Olive AME. I actually grew up hearing songs like this that are indications of a history that goes back as far as we can remember, before any of our time. But it dictates to us about the issue of prayer. It tells a story. If any of you have ever seen the video, it comes from the Georgia Mass Choir. And I don't know if you've ever seen the video. There's an old lady sitting in the back, in the front, I'm sorry, and she sings a song that tells a story of an accident that takes place. A young man has been hurt very badly, and they can't find a doctor. And as they can't find a doctor, then they went out, and Grandma comes up to the door. She says, "What's wrong?" He says, "How's my baby?" He says, "Well, not doing too well." He said, "Mother," and this is a mother now. "Mother, we don't have a doctor. We can't get to a doctor. What are we going to do?" There's an old white lady that owns the house. She says, "Lady, do you have a closet?" Do you have a closet? The implication is that there is a prayer closet. If you have a prayer closet, and if you know anything about that, you know that you would shut yourself in that closet to meditate on the situation, whatever the situation may be, so that you can pray. And she goes into the closet and she says her prayer, and she goes into song, as we just did. But it's an indication, come on in the room, of the strength of a mother's prayer. Now, this being Father's Day, let's stay within the scope of the time. Here we are in the 21st century. Many of us didn't think we'd see the 21st century. Many of us would not even believe that we are in the state that we are in the 21st century. Going back to the issue of a mother's prayer, I don't think there are any of us who would argue that this saying is valid. Let's look at the family history. Since the time of slavery, men were knocked out as the head of the household. Women were forced to be the heads of the household because they forced men into situations where they were sold off on plantations. And so the family dynamic that creates the family as the father, the head of the household, as dictated by the commandments of the Bible itself. Just read Deuteronomy. It says that we are to be the chief priest of the house. Now, if we are to build a nation, it's imperative that we look at this issue. And I want to be fair to us fathers. And with us this being Father's Day, let me just say that it is a very profound statement, a very profound situation when we start looking at the dynamics of a mother's prayer. And this is especially true in the black community, when we are faced with the scarcity of black fathers. Its profundity is so great that I have the time to take this time to analyze the meaning of the strength of a father's prayer. Now, a mother's prayer is so great that it's almost unfair to compare to a father's prayer. So I'm not going to compare the two because they're quite different. The roles are different. They're intended to be different. The mother is the nurturer, is she not?
Oh, yes.
And the father is the head of the household that cannot and should not be operating truthfully without the mother. They are a team. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have children without a mother. And the mother can't have children without.
All right.
Amen. 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 That's right. Well.
Go ahead, Smith.
Now, in fact, depending on your point of view, the strength of a father's prayer almost seems to be nullified. Now, I can tell you that if it was left up to my mom, she'd swear that she had me all by herself. But seriously, I can tell you that I can stand up here with great pride and say that Dr. Walter L. Smith is the epitome of a father whose prayers are strong. I can stand before you this morning as a living testimony of the strength of a father's prayers. Taking nothing away from a praying mother, Geraldine Williams. We must keep in mind that a nation is only as strong as its leaders, and men were called to lead. To be the head of a family, without a doubt, it is the family, empirically, that makes up a nation. But where is the father? The man, the priest of the family. Now this question leads to the common answers, of course. Our men, our black men especially, are dead, making up the largest prison and jail populations,
Yes, Lord.
on drugs,
Yes.
or otherwise distracted.
Yes.
There is a large segment of black society that is finding it far too normal to not live in a manner that is conducive to the creation of a strong and viable black community, and yes, black nation. At the center of this discussion is the black father and his ability to raise his children and to do all this in the manner in which God intended. As a matter of fact, this kind of thing has gone on for so long that a large, dare I say, vast number of black mothers have come to expect this vicious cycle of black fatherlessness to be the norm. I say no.
Amen. Amen.
No more. This can't continue and the cycle must stop. Yes, the prayers of a mother are well known to us in our society. But the strength of a father's prayers need to be manifested without question. Who can deny the historical significance from Abraham to David? The strength of a father's prayers has raised nations and destroyed enemies. Where are you, Daddy? Stand up and raise your nation. Pray as the priests that you are intended to be. Pray as you are supposed to pray. Women who are the baby's mamas should be afforded the dignity of being wives. Children need to see their dads love and respect their mothers.
Yes.
This must begin to stand as a way of life that they will take into their own lives as our children grow into adults and have their own families. Fathers, pray and pray hard. And teach the word of God to your children. Follow the commandments of God. My mother would always say, my father would always say, as stated in Deuteronomy 6th chapter, 1 through 9. It says, as fathers, we are commanded to teach his word to our children and to talk of God's commandments while sitting at home, walking by the way, and while lying down and raising up. Stand up, Daddy. Stand up. Where are you? Fathers, love your children. Take an interest in what they're doing. A genuine interest. I can tell you for a fact that anybody who knows me knows very well that there's not a baseball game, maybe one